All right, what's up, everybody? Victor Pena here with OmniPrint International, another session of Creators One-on-One with my buddy Cole. What's up, Cole?
Hey, man. Thanks for having me.
Dude, always love chatting it up with you. So right now we're at ISS Long Beach 2024.
Yep.
It's the start of the year. I'm seeing a lot of energy. I'm seeing a lot of hype. I'm also seeing like people trying to figure out, man, what's this year going to be about?
Yeah.
What are you seeing?
I don't know. I mean, from screen printers, I hear this thing of like, they feel like they're slowing down too much or they're worried about, getting like a big year. But on the DTF side, it feels like this infinite, limitless world where they're just like eating everyone's lunch. I talked to one of my friends. He raised his screen printing minimum to 200 pieces and everything below it is just transfers.
Just transfers.
And I was like, that is a high minimum. Like for most screen printers, they're doing 25 to 50 piece minimums. And he's like, I don't care. It's transfers or it is a big volume.
Dude, it's crazy, right? What's your minimums at your shop?
So we're at 25 piece minimum, but our price is so high at 25 pieces for screen printing that you might as well be digital.
Yeah.
So we're telling customers that pretty consistently where we're like, unless you're just obsessed with the like discharge or water base, there's no reason to do it.
And that's nuts, I wanted to talk to you about it because you have a lot of insight. I mean, not only do you screen print, but you're talking to screen printers all the time, right?
Oh, yeah.
And one thing I noticed with DTF transfers is that the big difference from when DTG came out is the crazy adoption from screen printers and the acceptance. Of course, there's a little hesitation at first, but now we're getting calls and we're getting people that are like, hey, you know what? I just got rid of this manual and this automatic press. I got $100,000 from it and I'm going all digital. Like, what are you seeing and why do you think that kind of stuff's happening right now? Whereas before they weren't really leaning into digital.
I think the difference between the DTG and the DTF is pre-treat. Like, I hate pre-treat. It gives you like this starchy thing that you're trying to get rid of before the customer gets their brand new shirt. The finished hand is good, but depending on what blank, it does feel a little bit more like fibery than if you're doing just a completely clean transfer. And then the ease of use on the DTF is like, I don't care if it's a nylon backpack. I don't care if it's a polyester t-shirt. I don't care if it's a tri-blend. I do not think about it. With the DTG, it was always this game of like, oh, we can offer it to you, but you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. So the DTF really changed the game and just like opening things wide open. I mean, I've even done jobs that I just never would have done before on backpacks and golf bags because it's like, well, whatever, if we can fit it under a heat press, we'll just DTF it.
Yeah, 100%. So it's the same thing that we've been seeing from our people that are transitioning and what it's taking is you have a lot of new businesses as well. And then now I think what's happening, and I don't know if you're seeing it, where the screen printers are like, all right, either I roll with it and I do something, or this brand new business that just does transfers is going to take all my customers.
Yeah.
You're using it right now, right?
Yeah, we're using it. We're still getting the transfers sent in.
Yeah.
But with us, the screen printing is like, we basically do large or consistent orders with screen printing. And then if it's anything mildly complicated, we try to just throw it to digital now. Because maybe a nerdy customer understands the difference, but most customers are perfectly thrilled to have a DTF. They don't think there's a negative. I was in the Chargers store at SoFi Stadium, and for $85, you could get a blue hoodie that was worth about $7, and every single hit on it was DTF. So if the NFL is pushing DTF printing, then people think that that's a premium quality item, and they're paying $85 from their favorite team. So as far as like hand feel and those arguments, they're not really there except for print nerds. Like, most people are completely happy with the finished product. And that's all that really matters, instead of explaining to them how screen printing works or whatever.
Yeah, so you're thinking the consumer themselves, they're no longer like, oh, I want a screen print, I want a direct to garment, I want film, they're like, I just want a nice product.
Right.
I don't care how it's done.
I think that there's a lot of people, like you see Sticker Mule getting into the game, And what they were always good at was like, just give us your art. It'll show up at your door. Like, and they don't even tell you what blank you're ordering. It's just a sticker mule blank, even though you know they're retagging it. And so like, they're just 100% digital. There is no count your colors. There is no setup fees. They're just like, it's $19 for one. And if you buy more, maybe it'll go down a little. And I think it's a great way to be in the industry. It's just like, we're just gonna give you shirts and the finished product will be good. We don't need to explain it to you. Because like with the screen printing world, like there's so many different rules that people have set up with screens and setup charges and art charges and vector charges. It's so confusing for the customer. And then these people that have been in the industry for a while think they like know the secrets, but really they're not secrets, they're just dumb rules that random shops create. And the end customer just wants a $20 to $30 item. And so as long as you can sell at retail, that's pretty much all you really need to go for.
Yeah, I love that. So eliminating the confusion for your consumer should be the number one goal in your shop, 100%.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm jealous of people that are starting right now because instead of getting stuck buying a $10,000 manual print shop setup that is not going to serve your needs anyway, now you can just have transfers shipped to your door, or you can buy something where you're making the transfer yourself. And 800 square feet next to the grocery store is going to get you all the customers you could ever want. You're not getting a giant amount of overhead. You're not doing a ton of square feet. You just land the orders and handle however many 100 transfers you can do per day. And then if you do land a big order, then go ahead and find a screen printer to outsource it to. But I think screen printers that are going to survive, they're going to be doing 200, 500 units. They're not going to be doing these weird 30-piece jobs on a manual press anymore. I think that's just dead.
Wow. Dude, that's strong. Because it happened in like 12 months.
It's been a huge change. Like the last 24 months, seeing things get as good as they are and having the washability be there and all that changed dramatically. Those old systems where it was like, let's print on white vinyl and then cut the white vinyl, that sucked. And I think that gave heat transfers a bad name. Was that kind of a product. But the new DTF is working so well. Like the only negative you really have is having those halftones fade out into the fabric. That's probably the only thing I'm seeing that most transfer companies still struggle with, is how to underbase those halftones as they fade. But other than that, the technology's there.
Yeah, 100%. You know, what would you say is you have two things that you would tell a screen printer right now that's resistant? They're not moving. They're trying to see how it ends up.
Mm-hmm.
They're still trying to push the status quo. Like what two tips would you have for them so that they could succeed and thrive and not end up on the dark side of this?
Well, I mean, if you're a specialty shop, like I think there's going to be this craftsman thing to screen printing where, you know, we do discharge, we do water-based, we do eco-friendly, we do like a certain kind of hand feel that you're not going to get out of DTF. So there is that kind of argument for those people, and some of them will survive as like the craftsman. But if you're a normal shop, I would just say, go ahead and switch one of your customers' jobs. Don't change the pricing, just order transfers in. You don't have to buy a machine first thing, but order some transfers in and see if they even know that you switched it. And if they see that they noticed that they switched it, did they say it looked better? Because they might actually think it looks better. So, I mean, when you're talking about all the limitations of screen printing, maybe just the next 30-piece order, buy 30 transfers and see if it saved you time, if it saved you money. Because especially if you're a small manual shop, that's who I think is getting replaced first. A small manual shop, you spend 40 minutes getting your art prepped, burning your screen, waiting for it to dry, registering it on your manual, like all of that. Or you could have a few clicks, have the transfer show up 24 hours later, and you're just heat pressing. I think it's pretty easy to compare, and I think a lot of clients are perfectly happy with just having full color digital.
Wow. And would you tell the client or just swap it?
I mean, it depends.
Just let them figure it out if you did.
Sticker Mule is really proving that people do not even care if the product shows up on time. If it shows up on time and it looks good, very few of my clients actually know enough to tell me what type of plastisol they like, what type of whatever. And you see really, really huge companies like Adidas putting their logos on with DTF. So if Adidas polos that are $80 at a golf store has a DTF on it, people don't think they look bad.
No, plus the quality is good.
Yeah, and it's smooth. I mean, especially if you're a manual printer, it's so hard to have a nice manual print. On the autos, you have a little bit more control because they're actually going to have like the pressure of the machine. But when you're just a guy just toughing it out, every single shirt's like a unique project because you may or may not get a little lazy. Your angle might change, whatever. So yeah, I think the manual side of it's what'll disappear first. And then most of the auto guys are just going to be raising their minimums.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it happened fast. And people thought DTG was going to be the thing, but now there's people who like unloaded their core needs. So like if huge companies are giving up on things like a core neat because of this industry, it's pretty bizarre to see.
It is. We're seeing a lot of changes and a lot of shifts. Luckily as an organization, we're probably one of the first DTG manufacturers to actually really lean in and do something versus it's another transfer, it's another fad, and it was just only because of what the mission of the organization is, and I just saw some benefits that are like, dude, you can't ignore it.
Right.
You can't ignore it, and so what do you think this does to labor and profit and these type of things for a screen printer?
I mean, I think what it means is you're not going to have surprises in quality. So as long as somebody can just open and close a clamshell or get one of those carousel heat presses, then almost any staff member is going to give the same output. Whereas right now in a print shop, your best guy is blatantly going to have a different result than your guy who's kind of lazy, but you can't replace him right now. They're just going to have different print qualities because it's too much of a skilled thing. Where with the DTF, it either came out of the print head writer or it didn't. So there isn't a skill. There isn't somebody who's been doing it for 12 years who's better. It's just, it came out, we heat pressed it. So I think it'll make people pretty efficient. And unlike the DTG where you had to pre-treat it, dry the pre-treat, run it through again, it's faster because the films are just ready to go. You're not doing this loop of drying the garment.
Dude, that's a great point. So if you had to do something drastic, where I'm hearing a lot of screen print volumes are down, right? For a lot of them. So what would you do right away?
I think some sort of, and this is what we're thinking about doing because we haven't implemented it, but some sort of web to print solution, copying that like sticker mule page where it's just stupid easy. They upload the art. You maybe get some design notes or maybe just have one of those designers that moves it around and then have a web to print solution on the back end. So you're just receiving 81 different designs on a roll of sheets the next morning, or you print them yourself and you're just doing it in the shop. But having that web to print solution is what most real customers want. They just want to go see that it's $18 a shirt and they just want to press buy. They don't want to send an order contact form, then get a quote request, then that takes a day or two, then they find out that there's setup charges. They just want to run their credit card. And so having that front end for the customer and then a back end that actually knows how to handle the art, I think that's where people should be looking.
That's what's next. Well, it just so turns out, I didn't even prep you for this, did I? It just so turns out we have all of that. We might just set you up.
Sounds good. Yeah, I know that there's a lot of kind of issues with figuring out how you want the front end to interact with the back end, and a lot of people have been trying to figure out how to make it work well, and you have a lot of different competing software that don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
So having it all under your roof is probably a much better solution than doing this thing where it's like, I have Inktavo, but I have this random front end from Squarespace, and I have this other thing from my SNS API that I'm trying to integrate the purchase. Having that as one solution, I think would be great.
I love it. Maybe we'll set you up with one.
Yeah, I'll check out the demo.
Yeah, definitely. I think that one thing is taking a e-commerce order, right? Everybody's been able to do that for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But how do I make it simple when I'm actually having to produce it and then ship it to the customer, or I literally had to go get a temp to come in and print. Can they scan a barcode and then stuff's just gonna print for me?
Right.
And then I can cut it, press it, and get it out the door.
Did you guys do anything with the actual distributor APIs yet?
So we do. We have a distributor. We created our own web service because the distributor APIs kind of are unreliably sucky.
Yeah.
But it's connected to them. So everything that's in stock, basically in our system, you put in your account number for Alpha or whoever, and your pricing loads and the available colors, and that's what the customer sees. They upload the artwork. We check it, make sure it's like good quality, and from there, once they pay, we make them pay. If it's rush, we make them pay the rush, and all of that, and it'll end up on your back-end system with your artwork, and you scan the barcode on the printer, and it'll print that artwork with the right color, the right profile, all that stuff. So,
that's awesome. So then the distributors are just pick and packing without you creating POs.
Yep.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah, and plus we also have like a little shipping terminal as well. You would scan the same barcode, shipping label comes out, slap it on, send it out.
So you could handle, what are these things capable of doing an hour?
So on DTF, it depends. We have 3 different models now.
Yeah.
There's a 36-inch printer that does like 100 linear foot per hour.
Okay.
And that you could do 3 full-size images there. So it gets pretty nuts. Our
so
most
250, 300 designs.
Yep, exactly. Our most popular one, that's like under 20 grand, is doing about 60 feet per hour, so like 60 designs an hour.
Wow.
When you scan the barcode, it's gonna put the job number with a little QR on it, and all your operator has to know, all right, I have 10 of these, same job number, this is the image, and cut it up,
Wow.
So we did the integration with the DTF machines for that. We had already done it with DTG, so we just hopped on it because I think that that's the future, production and all that. So honestly, it's been a hard adoption for people.
Yeah.
I haven't seen like crazy adoption in technology, specifically like in the shop, that I would have thought, like being a tech nerd myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's gotta come.
Well, I think there's a whole world of people filling out quote requests. So they're used to that. I was just talking to this one shop that actually was still on paper forms. They hadn't like gotten to web forms. Like you had to call their phone number and he sat there and filled out a paper form still. So there is just kind of this old school screen printer mentality. But the thing is, like in a lot of ways, we've seen print on demand for like what, 8 years, 10 years?
Yeah.
I mean, Printful built everything you're talking about in-house and then they didn't offer it to anyone. And look how huge they became.
Yep.
So for small shops to offer those same features, it does seem like it's just kind of like high time that you do it, because the people like Printful like kicked our ass a long time ago.
Yeah, they spent the money.
Yeah.
I know how much I spend in software every month. It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So for a shop to build their own stuff is impossible.
Right.
Plus the skill set and the people that you need is crazy. And I think one main reason why it's fragmented is because nobody's working together.
Right.
So luckily for us, like we make the machines, we have the ink, we have the software that runs it, we have the front end, so we can control the colors and all that stuff. But what if you had to collaborate with people that make other front end, other back end, other
Right.
equipment? It's nuts. I think that's where it makes it hard.
Well, that's like what Inktavo's struggling with now, is even though they bought each other and they've got like 4 companies under one umbrella finally, their backends don't even talk to each other.
No.
So they're spending a fortune trying to make their backends even know how to talk to each other. And they're not in charge of machines. They're not in charge of distributors. And so some of their features are just now rolling out, even though that merger happened like 2 years ago. So yeah, you having it all in-house is an advantage, because you can give like a streamlined solution instead of trying to smash things together.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's gonna be big. Why do you think it's hard for like specifically like even screen printers to invest in web and invest in tech and the monthlies that it takes and the setups to get things configured?
I think that a lot of people have had bad experiences with web actually paying off, because if you half-ass web, then you get like no sales at all. And some of those products, like, you know, a Deco Network front end or like a Inksoft front end, if you just put it up and you don't have like a marketing system or whatever, it's still way worse than like competing with custom ink. And so to the customer, if you're going to play that web game, just being custom ink is better. There's no reason to go to Jimmy's Tees, who has a bad website that sort of does it, because someone like custom ink does it all day long really easily. So I think that's a thing where it's just kind of like they feel like they'd rather get someone on the phone and have a relationship and not lose them because they click away. And I think they've had those experiences in the past where the software is like getting there, but it's not the same as the experience that someone's getting out of like Printful.
Yeah, I feel you on that, because one thing is the system, the other thing is the flow.
Mm-hmm.
Flowing users nicely through it, putting the time, making sure it doesn't say lorem ipsum, you know, on the page. I see that a lot. So do you think that it's got to be where you do it for them and just charge them like an agency?
That wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, to give them like, because if you give me software right now and it has a bunch of features I like, in my size shop, like I don't have someone who's going to spend 40 hours making it look incredible. So then I'm going to be like, well, we went live with it and I clicked some items that I turned on, and like you basically need to add all the design, add all of the placement, add all the descriptions, add all these things that either needs to be coming out in a box or it needs to be someone like on their staff is fully dedicated to making that happen. And that's why people just, even if the software is cool, they're probably not going to finish building it out very well.
No, there's very little finish on anything web when it goes to the print world.
Yeah, and if they look a little bit untrustworthy, they will never get an order.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of like, oh, this looks like I'm never going to get my order. I'll lose my money and I'll be arguing with them a month later. Then they just go to the obvious ones like 4Imprint, or they go to whatever. Because if there's national brands doing radio ads, TV ads, YouTube ads all day long, why are you going to go for the guy who's got a shop that does $1 million and he's just in Anaheim? Like, why even mess with it?
Crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard thing to compete with, which is why so many small shops feel like they have like their clients and it's people they personally have like interacted with. It's
and
that
they keep
ownership.
building them. They keep building those same type of clients that are just repeat relationship based, and they don't invest in what it takes to actually have a web presence.
Right. Because it takes a lot it costs a lot to have like any sort of marketing presence. That's a lot harder than knowing the principal of the local high school.
That's true.
Yeah, it's a lot of marketing.
My advice to anybody, and it really echoes what you're saying, you have to really lean in and invest. Either have someone that's a good specialist that's on your staff, or just get an agency. Get an agency where you can talk about what the visitors that you need, who's the customer buyer, what's the persona, the traffic, SEO, organic, paid, social, get the people there, conversion, how many people that show up actually buy, their experience, what experience are they having on your page, watch it, record it, fix it. That's the only way.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're like literally sending somebody to space and they're gonna click off and you don't even know. So I think the options are get an agency or just lean into it and hire someone on staff. That's good, actually, which then they cost money, right?
They're expensive too.
Yep, they're expensive too. So then you have to figure out, like, is it worth it for you? And then you have to chase that investment. Similar to where you chase a machine investment, But I think software and connected tech is where 2024 and beyond is going. Especially with people just wanting to order on their phone, easy. I don't care what tech it is. Like you're saying, did I get my stuff on time? Does it look nice?
Right.
I don't care how it got done.
Yeah. And I think that's definitely true, and that's what all the big guys are doing.
Yep.
It's just intimidating if you're like a dude out of Tennessee and you've got a manual and like a heat press. To even comprehend some of that is difficult. With your guys' software packages, are you doing it as a monthly service?
Yeah. So we have over the years we tried a lot of things.
Yeah.
For adoption of the small guy. What we're leaning into is more enterprise right now, honestly, because we have a $99 version, which is pretty nuts. It's
per month?
Yeah, per month.
That's real low.
Yeah, it's really low. And then we have a $299 version that includes the production backend, like the scanning, barcoding, and all that stuff. That's still low.
Yeah, it's the same price as Printavo.
Yeah, and that's with tracking your orders, order management, integrations, all this other stuff, right? And then recently we've been getting a lot of inquiries and all that on the enterprise. Like, hey, I want some custom front end. I want to like integrate it into my other back end. So we're just gonna lean in hard on that too.
You're gonna just charge them some random upfront cost on that?
Yep,
So
licensing, and then and like if it's anything crazy custom, where our programmers have to code it new,
start figuring out an hourly.
Yeah, then our hourlies are pretty cheap too. So
yeah.
So since our programmers are in house, then we just do an hourly programming, and that makes it accessible, like and it doesn't take so much because you have, like, we've been working on this since 2017.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Very cool. Yeah,
cool.
I got to see the demo of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, it does. We'll help you set it up.
Yeah. I just don't have one of your machines at the moment, so.
So, when are you going to get one?
I don't know, because we just keep subbing out. Your competitor isn't DTF. Your competitor is me not ever thinking about it, and I'm just like, okay, it's $1.80 times 30, whatever, and it just shows up at my door.
Yep.
So you have to, it's the competition with outsourcing as opposed to, the actual technology.
Dude, and honestly, I think a lot of people should outsource at the beginning. I don't think, if you don't have the volume, if you don't have the system, even to get there, like it's really good if you outsource. I think what you're doing is spot on.
Yeah.
And not until you need like turnaround time, you need better quality, or you need something that's holding you back from growth, then do your own. Or if you have demand of, hey, people want to use you for fulfilling for them, that's the way to go.
Yeah. Well, and some people are making good money doing that. They're the ones selling the transfers.
Yep.
You could probably have that be your sole business and not even deal with clients.
Yeah.
Just have a portal that would just pump out, and then you cut the transfer and ship it.
Yep. Just be the guy. This year we launched a product. It's Business Builder. It's $1,000. And what it is we print for you. You use the portal. Basically, we train you. You have weekly coachings, and you just order at a sub-wholesale rate.
From you?
From me.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
What that does is it gets people going that shouldn't be buying yet. They get rewards towards, equipment purchases later. And then we get a happier, better customer on the startup and smaller side versus people getting equipment that shouldn't get it yet.
Because I'm guessing, just my experience with DTG, pretty much any digital printhead, if you're not putting a lot of volume through it, you start having problems with it, either getting clogged or drying up or whatever.
Yep.
So knocking out 15 orders a day because you own your own machine isn't a good idea.
No.
You want to do 300 prints, 400 prints a day.
Exactly.
And a lot of people don't necessarily have 400 DTG prints to do.
No. And the ones that do, this is the other flip side. I'm also getting calls and talking to people. They're like, I'm crushing it right now because nobody in my area is doing DTG right now.
Yeah.
And they have multiple machines. They've been doing multiple. They're good at it. And I think those shops are still going to crush it.
Yeah.
Because they professionalized it.
Right.
And so I think that's going to work really well. And I'm excited about that stuff. I'm excited about technology and services. And I've been toying with this agency idea with dedicating and hiring a couple extra people to just do stuff for the people per month.
Would it have a marketing component besides the front end?
It has to have a marketing component.
Yeah, because people are always winging their marketing.
Yeah.
Like even some pretty successful shops, you find out that like the owner does his own social, he does his own ad spend. A lot of them don't necessarily have someone who's 100% in charge of either ad spend or social.
Yep.
They'll just like have someone on the team who kind of helps, and then they'll contribute whenever they decide to do it.
Dude, normally it's like their nephew or niece,
right,
and something like that, or they forgot to check the ads and they're just blowing money. You have to have specialized people looking at what the goal is in marketing. The goal is conversion for us, because it's e-commerce. So if you don't have somebody trained in e-commerce, then they're like, dude, don't turn the ads on.
Yeah.
If your page is not loading, it's not converting, it's clunky, or you just don't have the right offer, you don't have something like dialed in, then do not turn the ads on.
Yeah, you can spend a lot really, really fast.
Yeah. So like my hunch is that just in other industries, this has been happening for years. People use agencies and they crush it. The coaches and the seminar people and the training and the business coaches, all that, they make that serious. So they have somebody doing their marketing, their social matches, the call to actions on everywhere. The SEO is done so people can find you. Your your actual accounts are like all set up and matching. Like your merchant center and your Google ads and Facebook, all that's like done. And in our industry, like the adoption to that has been really low.
Right.
So either somebody's going to come in and be like an agency for this, or it's just going to be like the same old thing, in my opinion. Like my hunch is, if somebody can pay somebody $2,000 to $5,000 a month, but they're making $100K of orders online, then it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to figure out how. Well, I'm spinning both of our mics. You got to figure out how to actually get those results more than with one shop. Because if you offer it to one shop, your team could blow it out of the water, and then you have to offer it to the next shop and not compete with the first client, and then the third shop, then the fourth shop, then the fifth shop. So if you have 25, 30 shops on this same system, how do they not start eating each other when you have the same in-house team using their marketing? And it's like, how do we keep these shops separate enough? And maybe that's a regional thing.
Yeah. Like
maybe you guys have to decide, like, this is the Orange County shop, and then we're done with the county. And then this is the one in the Valley, this is the one in LA. Because otherwise you're gonna have this thing where it's like, oh, well, these guys are 3 miles from me, and they're just doing an identical thing with you, and you start eating each other's lunch instead of standing out.
Yep.
So you'd have to kind of phase it in and not have it be a wide open opportunity.
Exactly.
And keep the shops apart enough.
Localization.
Yeah.
Also a good value proposition. That's important. That why should your shop exist? Why should somebody buy from you? That's important too. That kind of stuff. On the flip side, you could also do one massive brand and then drop orders to everyone.
Yeah. I've always liked that idea.
Right?
That's always been the idea that I've liked, was basically like do what Custom Ink does by getting contract printers, but don't necessarily have a corporation at the top who pays like pennies, and instead say like, okay, kind of like a socialized network where people are like making enough money as the printer, but they're essentially paying into the marketing as if it was a franchise. So you're the local Jack in the Box, and you're not paying for advertising yourself because Jack in the Box corporate handles the advertising, handles the marketing, but you're still getting the order in your city.
I love that.
I think that would be a lot easier for printers because they're not making decisions anymore.
Yep, and big time tech is needed for all of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, awesome. Man, I could chop it up for hours with you, man. What's the before we let you go, like what's the number one thing that keeps you excited for 2024?
I mean, I think for me, I've always just kind of liked the art of it. So like, even if a job isn't something that is, the most like name recognition, I just like helping people design products that they're excited about. So for me, it's more about just like project to project basis, where getting to like work with people on creating something unique, something that they can't offer very easily. That's kind of what keeps me interested from day to day in the year. As far as technology, those carousel heat presses are going to change everything, because a clamshell from stalls, like what are they, Hot Rockets or whatever?
Yeah. They're
fine, I own them, but you're going to do 80 an hour or something on it. And now like that rock impress that they have, it's 400 an hour with just you having somebody load and unload. It's going to make DTF just so much faster. Because right now the heat press is holding people back, not even the printer.
Yeah. That's going to be nuts. Yep, been looking at that too.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys will be working on a carousel heat press pretty soon anyway.
Yep, been on that.
Yeah, because that's going to blow people up. And for the screen printers, you can right now just go grab a Stampinator. Grab a Stampinator, put it in line on your heat press that you own anyway. If you have like a 6-7 color job, don't heat press it, or don't screen print it. Instead, just load it on the same auto you already own and have the Stampinator do the heat press hate. And it's way faster than a clamshell.
Yeah. And it's way faster than doing that job, screen printing that job.
Yeah, setting it up, registering and all that. And then cleaning screens after, all that. It's a nightmare.
Dude, I love it.
Well, it's good talking to you.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me
man.
over.
Thank you for being here. I really enjoyed talking to you, man. Pumped for 2024, baby.
Yep, absolutely.
All right.
All right. Thanks. Bye.